Welcome back to the channel. This is your Manchester United versus Liverpool preview. Now, this is a game I'm really not looking forward to because this is not like the Manchester derby. This is not like the FA Cup final last season where I had a slight bit of confidence going into this game. I have no hope going into this game whatsoever. I really don't know if it's going to be a repeat of a 7-0. Don't know if Arne Slot and Liverpool are going to be kind to us and just beat us 2-0 and just play us off the park. I really don't know, but I can really not see any way, shape or form how Manchester United can beat Liverpool on Sunday, which is really sad, to be honest, because we've got no faith, no confidence, no belief in this team whatsoever. We're on a downward spiral trajectory and it's a complete mess. Players doing TikToks with former celebrities on Love Island. You've got players refusing to play. You've got players that are either being sold or aren't being sold. It's all up in the air, and you've also got certain amount of injuries as well. But anyway, let's first talk about Liverpool, and it's not even how we stop Salah, how we stop Liverpool. How do we stop their 12th man Michael Oliver, for example? It's how we stop Anfield, because this is a collective and an atmosphere and an environment and everything about this club at Anfield is absolutely impossible to defeat because they already battered us earlier this season in our own backyard at Old Trafford, and that was when Ten Hag was the manager, and hopefully Ruben Amorim can come up with some tactical master plan that can get us over the line and maybe get somewhat result out of it. But with that most recent performance against Newcastle, I really can't see how we even score a goal, because bearing in mind, Man United have not scored a goal at Anfield in the Premier League since 2018. Now, that's a stat that's completely just wow. Like, is it that hard for United to win at Anfield? Because, yeah, we won in the FA Cup at Old Trafford last season 4-3. But realistically, United's record against Liverpool in most recent years has not been a good one. They've absolutely tore us apart at each game we face them at. And this is under a new manager, under Arne Slot, under Jurgen Klopp. The list goes on. And for me, I genuinely believe that we are absolutely toast, to be honest. But we do need to talk about certain players at Liverpool as well. They're important key players. Obviously, Mo Salah being their key one. You know, he's putting up Ballon d'Or numbers this season, and obviously the top of the league in the Premier League, the top of the league in the Champions League, and Mo Salah is that main target man. You can say he's definitely lost a yard or two in pace, but he's made up for that. You know, Mo Salah is probably a once-in-a-generation type footballer. He's world class, and he will definitely cause United a lot of issues on Sunday, whether it's Mazraoui, whether it's Harry Amas, whether it's Diogo Dalot. It doesn't matter who plays in that left wing-back role. Mo Salah is going to just play with him because he's in the form of his life at the moment. You would think that as players get older, they start to slow down a little bit more. And every single rival fan who's not a Liverpool fan will literally say that Mo Salah will slow down this season. He's not the player we think he is. But he goes on and does it. He goes on and scores 20 goals in a season and more. And he's already nearly at that number halfway through a season. Now, I'm just really bricking it, to be honest, because this could be a slaughter. This could be an embarrassment. And how can we deal with their press as well? Because it's not just Mo Salah and it's not just the likes of the press. They've got so many world-class players. Van Dijk, Trent Alexander-Arnold, you know, Cody Gakpo, you know, McAllister. They've got so many world-class players in their positions. That is what a title-winning side looks like. And how do we beat their press? And realistically, they trigger their press from the front with a heavy runner, whether it's in Luis Diaz, whether it's Cody Gakpo, whether it's Jota. They've got so many players that can play in multiple positions that can trigger a press under Arne Slot, which is what makes them so unpredictable, because their style is still the same, but the certain players, they understand Slot's like philosophy and game plan and tactics. It doesn't matter what player starts for them, they all play the same way. And that's what a great manager is. That's what a great team is. And let's be honest, United don't have a great team. We have a great coach in Ruben Amorim, who's proved that he can do it in Portugal. And I have every bit of confidence he can eventually do it in the Premier League. But it's the natural intelligence of the players. It's the respects they have for their coach. And I think that's one of the main issues, which is why Manchester United aren't thriving under Amorim at the moment. You've got players who I can't play in that position or this system doesn't suit me. You know, I'm not being funny, but you played thousands, millions of pounds a year and you cannot understand basic tactics. Like, for example, my most frustration thing at the moment is Dalot and Mazraoui with this wing-back role. All you're doing is playing as a wide midfielder, but you're still doing your defensive duties as a fullback, but you also get forward a lot more. Pretty much all we're doing is asking you to run and be in position a lot more further up the pitch, and you just have to use a bit more intensity to run back when a counter-attack happens so you can still defend in a back five. Now, for me, yes, obviously, it's not easier said than done, but at the same time, Manchester United really need to be careful to save ourselves from embarrassment because we're just all over the place at the moment. Ruben Amorim made a massive call in the Manchester derby when we won 2-1 by dropping Alejandro Garnacho and Marcus Rashford, and we won. But since then, have we had a won in the game, in the world? I don't think so. I don't think we've won in the Carabao Cup because we lost to Spurs. I don't think we've really won a home game either. So we are literally all over the place at the moment. And obviously, Michael Oliver, we'll quickly brief on him. He has been a terrible manager in Manchester United games. For me, he's obviously heavily biased. We all know he's a well-known Newcastle fan. And yeah, it's just not a great look because it's not even just mainly Manchester United games. There's been so many games over the years where Michael Oliver has bottled it in key big moments. Obviously, the most recent one is Anfield last season, where he sent off Diogo Dalot for a yellow card that wasn't a yellow card. It was our throw-in, and I think Diogo Dalot kicked off with him. He got a yellow card, and then Diogo Dalot then went like that to him, and they gave him a second yellow card. Like, that is a natural reaction that every single Premier League footballer does if a decision doesn't go their way or if a decision is wrong. And Michael Oliver has done this countless times to players where he's awarded them a yellow card for kicking off. But if a player continued to kick off or showed a certain gesture afterwards, which many have done, Gabriel for Arsenal, you've got the likes of Rodri for Man City, you know, where they've thrown their arms up in the air after a decision hasn't gone their way and awarded a second yellow card. Now, that hasn't happened to any other player, apart from Diogo Dalot at Anfield last season. And again, Michael Oliver is judging Anfield against Manchester United on Sunday. But he's going to be their 12th man. He's always against Manchester United. He hates Bruno Fernandes, so we'll have to see. But anyway, let's talk about Manchester United and what can Amorim change, because something needs to change from that Newcastle performance. We were all over the place. That 30 minutes before Xerxes was took off was practically the worst 30 minutes I've ever seen as a Manchester United fan. Now, we've had batterings, we've had slaughterings, but just the first 30 minutes in the game where you're trying to stable yourself or you're trying to get ahead in a game or you're just trying to show the fans a bit of fight, there was none of that against Newcastle, and it was embarrassing to watch. Yes, we were on with 2-0, but Eddie Howe was probably frustrated with his players at half time. The fact that they only won 2-0, they could have made that 4 or 5 at one point, and they were just they took the foot off the pedal. You know, they were in second gear for the majority of the game, and I'm pretty sure if United somehow made it 2-1, Newcastle would have made it 3 or 4, and that's the issue at the moment, because it doesn't matter how hard Manchester United try. Teams are going 50% on us and still battering us. So Amorim needs to change something. And it's a massive call to ask young players to come into this type of game, which I don't think Amorim will do. I think he will stick with similar type of players, but we'll have to see how it goes. But for me, my starting 11 would be Andre Onana in net. I mean, I did think about Tom Heaton, to be honest, because Biende and Andre Onana, for me, aren't good enough. So maybe throw in Tom Heaton. But you've got Lenny Yoro, De Ligt and Martinez. Now, despite what you think about their form, they're our 3 best centre-backs. De Ligt needs to return in that central centre-back position because Maguire is just, for me, not good enough. Now, I thought it'd suit this back 3 system, but, you know, you've got every team targets Maguire with their striker. All you need to do is have pace and physicality up front and you'll beat Maguire. That's literally as easy as it is. Alexander Isak did it. Joe Linton did it against when we played Newcastle. So I just don't think Maguire can suit Anfield. Maybe bring him on if we need an extra defensive body. If we somehow go 1-0 up or we need to defend the game if it's 0-0, for example, which I don't think it will be. But yeah, for me, my back line would consist of Yoro, De Ligt and Martinez. Wing backs, I would keep it Mazraoui and Diogo Dalot. I'm just hoping something just switches in their brains and they just run that extra 5-10 yards forward, because Jamie Carragher did a brilliant analysis on the positions after the Wolves game, where Manchester United had Mazraoui and Diogo Dalot, and they were still stuck next to the centre-backs. As soon as United have the ball, they should be running up near the halfway line to allow the two in midfield to have an extra options to pass to in them wide areas, whether it's Dalot on the right or Mazraoui on the left or vice versa. Now, something needs to switch in the brain where they just need to move up the pitch more, because they are wing backs. They're not full backs anymore. Whether they like it or not, they're wing backs now, and they need to go further up the pitch and help this system unfold, because that's why we're struggling to create. That's why Amad Diallo's being left on his own by the touchline. No players going up to help him and support him. It's frustrating to watch. Now, the midfield too are two players that weren't available against the likes of Newcastle, and that is Ugarte and Bruno Fernandes. Now, you might be thinking, where's Kobbie Mainoo? Let me cook, because Kobbie Mainoo for me is going to be playing next to Amad Diallo in the advanced 10s. Now, Bruno Fernandes as a deep lying playmaker, Ugarte as that ball-winning midfielder. For me, that would be a better option instead of playing Bruno Fernandes as that advanced 10, in my opinion. And then you have Amad Diallo and Kobbie Mainoo, two very technical players with good dribbling abilities that can play up front in them advanced areas. So for me, I would definitely experiment with Kobbie Mainoo as that advanced 10, because we know what he can do when he carries the ball. We know that he's a very good dribbler. We know that he's very good at passing when he needs to be. And I feel like Kobbie Mainoo in this type of game, he could be man of the match and he could be the game changer. So if we play him a bit further up the pitch in that advanced 10, and if it doesn't work, drop him back next to Ugarte and put Bruno Fernandes up there. It's very, very simple in my opinion. And striker, I mean, this would be a game for Marcus Rashford, even though he's not a striker. But it's got to be Rasmus Højlund. I really don't see Ruben Amorim starting Xerxes after that first half an hour performance against Newcastle. And obviously, we all know about the Marcus Rashford situation. So it's really, really difficult to see if Marcus Rashford is actually going to play a game for Manchester United. He was on the bench against Newcastle, but I think that was just to fill numbers, to be honest. And it was to make headlines, but he didn't come on the pitch. And that's that, to be honest. But yeah, it's really hard to discuss how Manchester United can actually beat Liverpool on Sunday. I'll take a 3-0 loss right now, because like I said at the start of the video, I have no faith in this team whatsoever. But made it far into the video. Let me know in the comments down below on what you think of the prediction, and let me know your comments and thoughts on predictions of the upcoming game again on Sunday. Anyway, thank you for watching. Leave a like on the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.